This is the FTP Podcast.
We're here with the illustrious, the well-known, none other than contributor, Maj Robinson. You know, I'm so excited to talk sports with you today. I hope you know that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you invited me on the show because it's important that you get a good voice, you know, who knows at least something about the game.
You know, I'm extremely selective about people that I will actually discuss sports with. You know, everybody always thinks they know sports. And they're like, oh, Jamal, you know, I saw this and I saw that. And I tell them, yeah, okay, I agree. I most of the time I don't dive too into it because everybody believes that they know something, but that doesn't mean you really do. And it's
That's
just
true.
a waste of breath and brain power on my end. You know, why am I going to waste my time?
Right. No, I hear you because I call those people, I call that barbershop talk, where, you know, the only people that agree with you are the people in the barbershop. So
right.
That's cool. So let's get it going. We're going to talk about the NBA Finals.
Oh, yeah. All right. So, all right, we got our finals matchup set. We're looking at, you know, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Cavaliers, Warriors. All right, first thought, what are your thoughts on the matchup just initially?
Well, I think one of the key things is that the focus needs to stop being on LeBron James and Stephen Curry because those are the two people that will probably be the show, but they're not going to be the individuals that carry this out to, you know, whomever is going to win this championship. Let me tell you, the one thing that has to happen in this particular matchup is that all of those supporting pieces for LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert, all of those people are going to have to contribute. And on the Warriors side, you know, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andrew Bogut, Harrison Barnes, all of those individuals are going to have to play a key role in making sure that this becomes a team game because the way these two matchups are, they're so close in terms of the types of things that they like to do. They both like to run. They both like to shoot the three. It's going to be a good matchup, but I think it's going to be the supporting parts that are going to be the real story in this particular championship game.
You know, I agree, but at the same time, I don't. You know, I do agree that the supporting parts are going to play a huge role, but in looking at this game and the way these teams have been able to win and carry, and these guys have put their teams on their backs at times to carry them to this point, I think the reason those supporting parts are going to play such a huge role is because they have to figure out ways to slow down James and Curry because obviously they play completely different positions, so it's not just a matchup between those two guys going head on. For Cleveland, is Kyrie going to be healthy enough for them to stick him on Curry? For Golden State, Draymond Green, I mean, personally, I think he's one of the better defenders in the NBA this season. Are they going to put him on LeBron full time? And really, can he slow him down? That, just from my perspective and just the way star power plays such a huge role in the NBA, because if a guy if Steph starts hitting from the three, everybody else on the team all of a sudden think they could hit. They start shooting like lights out.
Absolutely.
Same with LeBron, and when he starts getting in the lane, he throws down one of those slams that he can get, you know, things that other people just can't physically do. That gets the team going. That gets them rolling. You see that. You say, well, I could do that. I want to look good, too.
Yeah, right. But I think you make a key point because this is one of the things that just looking at video when the Golden State Warriors played the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first matchup, LeBron James wasn't there. The Warriors won 112-94. In the second matchup, however, LeBron James scored 42 points, and they had no answer for him in terms of him driving to the basket. So what I think the Warriors are going to have to do is they're going to have to find out which matchups are going to work in terms of trying to clog that middle, because you know how LeBron James loves to drive to the middle. They're going to have to find some matchups that are going to work for them to slow him down, because once he drives, he loves that kick. And once he kicks that ball out, those three-point shooters are going to be ready. And so the Warriors are going to have to find a way to clog the middle and guard the perimeter. That's going to be a very difficult task in this particular type of matchup.
Right, especially because, while the Warriors have played great defense all season long, if in my opinion, if there was one thing that at times they've had trouble on, it definitely wasn't the offensive side of the ball. I think their defense, for part of it, I think their defense has been able to be so strong for the majority of the season because teams just got nervous because they just started scoring and so the other team will say, well, I just got to throw it up there to try and keep pace. I think that they can be taken advantage of on defense at times if teams just stick with their game. So I think that's something that's going to definitely be interesting now that the way LeBron plays and he's going to try and stretch them inside and out. That's going to be something that they're going to need to work on. While they do have some great individual defenders, Klay Thompson is a very talented defender in his own right. And I said already I like Draymond Green.
Yeah, and one of the things that the Warriors did, well, at least the coaches did, when they were trying to defend the Houston Rockets, and they had to understand that keeping one player on a star player may not work. So the Warriors, they're going to probably rotate like they did. What they did with the bearded dude, the dude that shoves off everybody when he drives to the lane, and he gets his fouls by bumping his body into everybody. That guy for the Houston Rockets, the way I don't really like saying his name anymore.
Apparently,
he kind of irritates me a little bit. But what the Warriors decided to do was they started to put Harrison Barnes on him, switch Draymond Green on him, put Iguodala on him, and throw a little Klay Thompson on him because Klay Thompson was expending so much energy trying to stop the bearded dude that his offensive game was slowing down. And so I think what the Warriors are going to do, they're going to rotate those defensive assignments so that they can, get some bodies on LeBron. Because if you give him the middle, if you allow him to drive the middle, you're asking for trouble. Because once again, if he kicks it out or if he drives the lane and start getting fouls on those interior players, it's going to be a problem for the Golden State Warriors. But I do think that Ron Adams, he's a former assistant coach, defensive guru with the Chicago Bulls. I think he'll come up with a scheme that's going to work. But ultimately, the Warriors are going to really have to make sure they don't turn over the ball. Because if both teams turn over the ball, that's going to allow both teams to get out in transition to get those transition points. And, that's going to get the crowd going. It's going to get everybody going.
Okay, and we're going to get into Cleveland side of it with LeBron in a second. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll get back into that.
You are now listening to the FTP Podcast.
All right, back at it. All right, we're going to take a look at the matchup with LBJ against those Golden State Warriors. We obviously, I think, got sucked in a little bit and went overtime, so we're going to try and make this as quick as possible to get through a couple of things. All right, so LeBron James, Golden State Warriors. I think Draymond Green, phenomenal. I've liked him since college, and everyone's saying, he's not this, he's not that. I thought he could have an opportunity to come in and be a solid player. And I remember saying that, and he went and he came in and he was solid. He's gotten better each year that he's been in the NBA. And I think at this point, he's one of the, in my opinion, one of the premier defenders at this point at his position. And do I think he's going to be able to slow down LeBron is the main question. Because obviously I prefer him on him than Harrison Barnes. I think LeBron will take advantage of Harrison Barnes playing simple. He's going to take him into the lane, and he's going to take that boy.
Yeah. Well, you might be right, because when you look at footwork, Draymond Green, he moves his feet very well with good offensive players who like to drive to the lane, especially if you're backing him down. He tends to move very well with his feet, and he's going to have to do that. But one of the things that I'm thinking that the Warriors may do, depending on how either Draymond, Harrison Barnes, or even Iguodala is guarding LeBron James, if it gets out of hand to the point where LeBron is scoring at will as he did in the second matchup in Cleveland, they're probably going to double team them and take their chances with the 3-point shooter.
Well, and you almost, the way J.R. Smith's been hitting in the playoffs, and in my opinion, proving himself, you almost don't want to do that.
Right. Right. I mean, that's a double-edged sword. I mean, you know, you can't. You have to look at it and from the perspective of, am I going to allow LeBron to beat me, or am I going to allow the other players to beat me?
Mm-hmm.
And in this particular case, I mean, J.R. Smith, for three-point range, he's shooting 39%, well, literally almost 40% from three-point range in the playoffs.
J.R. Smith is hands down in the top 5 of, like, the best scorers in the NBA, and the man gets no respect.
When his game is on, yes, he is. Yeah, when his game is on. But I don't know that you can expect him to be the same way against the Golden State Warriors when Golden State Warriors had the number 1 defensive rated defense in the league, meaning per 100 possessions they had the number 1 defense in the league.
Oh, right. No, I'm not going to misconstrue this as saying he could be a number 1 option somewhere. But if they put the focus on LeBron James, which especially with Kyrie being banged up, anyone with common sense in their mind, my defensive focus is I'm not going to let him beat me. Make Kyrie prove to me he's healthy before I even worry about him.
Right. Yeah.
So, in my opinion, I go with, I'm going to let those other guys beat me. LeBron not going to do it. And when you do that, I think a guy that's going to have a large series because of that, now you call this a bold prediction, whatever it may be, J.R. Smith is going to drop some points. And personally, just based off his track record, I won't even consider that bold. Now, I'm not saying that that's bad on Golden State. I'm just saying that based on the game plan, or at least the game plan that most people would go with, I'd let him take his 20 as opposed to LeBron dropping 50.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense to me. And from the Golden State Warriors perspective, like I said, I think they're going to either have to come up with some double teams and just see how the matches are working. But both players are going to be hard to guard. But guarding LeBron James is different because he can play all 5 positions. And so his ability to guard you is another aspect. I mean, that's what Michael Jordan, that's where he made his game. He improved so much because while Jordan was a highlight reel, people forget he was first team defense almost every single year. And LeBron James, from a defensive perspective, he can guard you. But what you have to do is you got to make him pass that ball. You got to make LeBron James pass the ball and hope that the other players don't hit the shot.
All right, so we got a 7-game series, 2 competitive teams. And I will let you go first because I'm pretty sure I have a good idea of who you're going to select to win.
Okay, you just might be right. Well, in Game 1, which is Thursday, they got the Warriors favored by 6 points. So I don't know if you know this, but this is the largest point spread that LeBron has faced in a Game 1. So that's an interesting note. I will say this: I'm looking at Golden State Warriors, but I honestly believe it'll go either 6 or 7 games. 6 or 7 games. I'm pushing more towards 7 because I think home court advantage is going to play a major role. But I think the key, if the Warriors win the first 2 games, then that's when the Cavs have to make sure, of course, obviously, that they get one of the next 2. And the other key aspect to this series is that they're no longer doing the 2-3-2. It's 2-2-1-1-1. And I think that's going to help the team that's at home.
Okay.
That
makes sense. Golden State in 6. This is what I'm hearing. All right. I had a pretty good idea that you were going to say that. 6 games. You said it was going to be competitive, no blowouts. So now for me, I think I completely agree. I think this is going to be a competitive series. I think home court advantage is going to play a huge role along the way, and I think such a role that I think it's going to take it to 7 games. Obviously, this is what the NBA wants, especially after these, dare we say, lopsided conference finals.
Yeah,
so they definitely are looking to try and extend this thing as long as they can, but I'm thinking it's going to go 7. I think the injuries are going to play a huge role, and I do think that I think Steph Curry is going to get his. along the way. But that being said, I have seen something in LeBron this playoff season, this off season, that I've never seen from him before. I think him wanting to bring a championship back home, him wanting to bring a championship to Cleveland has changed him. I think this team has changed him. This is not the same LeBron that was with Cleveland the first time. This is not the same LeBron that was in Miami. When after that Bulls game, he said, the play was for me to inbound the ball, and I said, no, I'm either going to win it or we're going to go to overtime. At that moment, I realized that this was a different monster. I think it's going to be 7 games, and I think in Game 7, LeBron has the game of a lifetime and brings that championship home and does exactly what he set out to do. Wow. That's my prediction.
Okay. I've heard you. You all have heard us. Warriors in 6.
If you want to hear the whole finals prediction and our whole matchups and everything, you can check it out on SoundCloud or on YouTube. We'll take a quick break, and we'll wrap things up in a minute.
This is the FTP Podcast.
All right, it's time to wrap things up. We got a new segment that we're going to do here, and it's going to pop up from time to time, basically whenever someone does something stupid. We got our Idiot of the Week, and this week, the honor goes to Ray McDonald. The boy had been arrested 2 times in 3 days, and he just got a new job, and he didn't lost his job already. Chicago shipped him on out after he got in trouble for some more domestic violence, the same thing that got him out of San Francisco. So, ding, 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 he's our Idiot of the Week this week.
I just got one thing to say. How stupid can you be? That's it.
Apparently pretty stupid. They haven't learned their lesson that this domestic violence thing is being taken to another level. The example of Ray Rice, the example of Greg Hardy, it hasn't been understood. So clearly, pretty stupid. So we got our moment in sports history. We always do that, but we already kind of talked about it with the championship drought, and this NBA final for one of these teams, one of these cities, is going to be a moment in sports history. All right, Professor Robinson, I want to thank you for chiming in, for sharing this podcast with me today. I truly enjoyed it. It has been a pleasure.
I enjoyed it. Thank you for inviting me. It's been great talking about the Golden State Warriors and definitely talking about the upcoming NBA Finals. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, and we're definitely going to try and make sure we could get you back, but you have a tendency to disappear. So it's going to be a little rough. But we're going to see what we can do. Thanks for listening. Keep up with us. You can check us out on YouTube, SoundCloud, Twitter, Instagram. Just search From the Press Box, and pretty much it's going to pop up. Thanks again.
Peace.